I think for many writers like myself who come from a different country and find themselves in this new place, we have an attachment to home. And so I find that I write a lot about my home, Nigeria, and given that I'm in this new place as well, there's a way in which, I find myself writing about ways in which the cultures merge, the politics of these kinds of merging. Yeah, I think, more and more these days, I'm playing around with what it means to be from one place, but also now from another. Even Harper Lee, when she wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, based, the character of Scout's father on her father, so I feel that, as a writer, I'm going to be influenced by my own life. I'm going to be influenced by things that happened around me. I don't think I need to do battle with that because that's what fuels my creativity, and so I embrace it and I don't fight it. I don't feel that I'm writing too close to home. However, I have written close to home. I have stories in my collection, 2 stories that are autobiographical. Those stories are Shelter and Tumors and Butterflies. And, I think I needed to write those stories. And, they are fictional, but, there's a space for autobiographical fiction. And so why fight it? I needed to write those stories and I got them out and I'm happy I did. Well, I should say there are very few stories that I've ever written that I've sat down and plotted it out. There have been 1 or 2 that I've thought, such and such has inspired me and I want to do this specifically with this story. But that's not the majority of my stories. I had to do that with my novel, where I had to think, what is this going to be about? And so it went through an initial outlining phase that actually didn't end up being what I did.
Yeah.
And then by the time I really got into the novel, I did not look back at the outlines or anything. I just went with it. The same with the stories in this collection. They just sort of, I waited for a story to feel as if I was bursting with a story. And then I sat and it just sort of flowed out. So I was sort of lucky with these stories. It's not always the case. I do have a few stories that I've started to write and it just wasn't right. It wasn't there. It didn't fall together. And so I did not, use those stories. And some of them have now come out in different ways, completely revised, completely re-envisioned even. And I can sit down for a while, which is not quite healthy. And so then I have to consciously remind myself, okay, go on a walk now. Okay, go and do this now. Okay, take a break now. I guess that would be the biggest challenge. But otherwise, I enjoy it, even as painful as it can be, to try to, make sure that you're expressing yourself correctly, or to try to make sure that, it's hard when you're putting words on a page and you're afraid of being misunderstood. This is a crazy world these days. People do whatever they want with whatever you've done, and it's just scary to know that once you put it on paper, it's no longer yours. It belongs to other people, So that pressure is always with me, but also I try to enjoy it. I do enjoy it, so it's not even that much of an effort to enjoy the writing process. You're writing it. I actually started writing just to write stories. I didn't really think in any real way that, people would actually publish it and that it would go out there. I don't even think that I really knew what publishing was. There are many things I haven't known and I'm just now learning. And it's been an interesting experience, a very good learning experience. But I would say that now knowing what I do, it's even more scary to send out a story into the world. It's almost as if maybe if I just kept it to myself, it'd be safe. And, but then it doesn't do any good to the world, or, I mean, I think many of us write because we want to have an impact. We want, at least for people to know that, somebody else has felt what they have felt, this sort of commiseration where, I don't know, we sort of bond, even if we've never met each other. And so I think that's part of what writing is about, but it's also a scary thing. I would just say, like, go with your heart, do what feels right to you. Because there are too many voices to listen to right now, and so sometimes you need to clear your head and just, like, go with your heart and hope your heart leads you the right place, whatever that means. Yeah.